Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I've got another Master Duel video for you. Today we are covering Yubel yet again. This time, however, it's a video that's been pretty highly requested in the comments, and I've seen a couple requests for it in the stream chat as well. And that is going to be the Yubel combo guide. Now that I've had more practice with this deck, been getting more familiar with it, I feel like I'm at a point where I can comfortably start talking about the combo lines and how I like to play them out. So for this build in particular, I wanted to take a build that has the most, like, what's the phrase I'm looking for? We're doing the least amount of, like, weird attacks here, right? I don't necessarily mean weird in a bad way. The fact of the matter is, there are so many different ways that you can play the Yubel deck, a lot of different combo lines that you can incorporate. There's lines with Beatrice, there's lines with Promethean Princess, and of course there are also many different variants of Yubel, such as like a more Unchained focus build, or Yubel Sprite, or something like that, right? However, I wanted to, again, take a very kind of basic, clean list that's not using any weird engines. Again, don't necessarily mean weird in a bad way, just atypical. And I wanted to give you all a good basis of how Yubel typically combos with the stuff that it will always or pretty much always play. I went for the most amount of cards that had the most amount of representation, right? So that way, if you were looking to just like get a handle of how does this deck play in general, we can start off with, again, the baselines and not immediately get into, weird or atypical points of tech. That said, there are plenty of combo guides out there on YouTube as well that do show these more atypical lines. So I highly encourage you to not only watch the base combos in this video, but then afterward, if you're interested in, again, like a Beatrice variant or a Promethean Princess variant, definitely taking a look at some of those more unique lines as well. But again, we are here to talk about the base kind of Yubel deck, which is why we've got this build here. It is slightly different than my deck profile build from yesterday, but this is my current updated build. So anyway, enough yapping, let's get to doing some combos here. Okay, so I want to start off with one card combo lines, and then once we've established those, then I think we'll go ahead and take a look at some 2-card plays. So let's start with Nightmare Throne. Nightmare Throne is a card you always want to start with, and when it comes to 1-card combos in particular, I think Nightmare Throne is going to be your best starter. Now, of course, we have plenty of other options in our hand here, but as always, we will pretend these cards are simply not here, and act like we only open Nightmare Throne and then like 4 hand traps, right? So we're going to lead by activating the Nightmare Throne effect. We're going to want to add Samsara D Lotus from the deck to the hand. Samsara D Lotus I would consider one of your deck's other main starters. Now we can summon and then activate the effect of Samsara D Lotus. We're going to special summon our Spirit of Yubel. Thanks to the Spirit of Yubel effect, we get to add a Yubel spell or trap card, or rather a card that mentions Yubel. You can add or set it, actually. So here's the thing. If it's turn 1, it's generally safer to set it, because it plays around stuff like Ash Blossom or Droll and Lockbird. If it's turn 2, or especially if it's your opponent's turn and you're activating this effect, I would add the card to your hand then, because it plays around your opponent having an effect that can destroy it or whatever on the field. But for our turn 1, I would pretty much always set this rather than adding it to, again, play around that kind of stuff. So we're going to activate that Nightmare Pain that we just set. We're then going to use the effect to destroy the Spirit of Yubel on our field. And you're going to want to add a Gruesome Grave Squirmer from the deck to the hand. Now you'll get to activate both the Spirit of Yubel and a Nightmare Throne effects. They are both if, not when effects, so it shouldn't matter what order you do these in. We can do Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 here, or again, you could do it the other way around. It should be fine. Alright, Nightmare Throne adds the card and then summons it. So don't be scared if you see the add the card option. You're like, wait, shouldn't I be summoning here? We're going to go for the Terra Incarnate, and then Spirit of Yubel is going to summon Yubel from our deck. Now we're going to take the Yubel and Terra Incarnate in our field, and I actually want to link them both off into the Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, oh, also, by the way, get used to seeing this. But don't panic. So It's just saying that we missed the timing to get the last effect of Terra Incarnate, but we're not playing Ultimate Nightmare anyway, so that actually doesn't matter. Again, you will see this pop up every time, even though we can't even activate the effect, but don't panic when you see that. Now, Cross Shape is on a card that's necessarily always played, but I think I've seen it in, what was the stat? It was like 78% of builds, and I personally think that Cross Shape is a card you should pretty much always be playing. Your extra deck always has room for it, and it opens up a lot of plays. So, I'm going to put back the Yubel and Terror Incarnate, and leave Spirit of Yubel in the graveyard to summon this Phantom. You do have to leave the Spirit of Yubel in the graveyard. Since we summoned Phantom to one of the zones that Cross Sheep points to, we can use the Cross Sheep effect in order to bring back the Samsara D Lotus that is in our graveyard. We're going to go ahead and want to summon the Gruesome Grave Squirmer here next. And we don't need to destroy a card. Now, we're fine for this particular combo line. I'm going to use the Gruesome Grave Squirmer as well as the Phantom of Yubel. Although, actually, not Phantom of Yubel. Let's use Samsara D Lotus. And we'll use those to make Yama, because this way we can keep essentially a monster negate up with the Phantom. Granted, if they had, like, a monster effect, they probably would have used it sooner, but you can just keep this up. We're going to add Sharvara from deck to hand with the Yama. Alright, now we can make Appaloosa using all 3 of the monsters on our field. So now, even though we lose the Phantom monster, quote-unquote, negate, now we just made the Appaloosa anyway, right? So, alright, from here we're going to use Gruesome Grave Squirmer's Graveyard effect, banishing it, and we're going to want to bring back that Spirit of Yubel. That's why I wanted to keep it in the graveyard there. Now, with Sharvara, we can pop the Spirit of Yubel and summon the Sharvara to our field. This will let us activate the Spirit. You could also activate Yama here, but we don't want to because we're playing Escape of the Unchained. And we can use Yama's effect during our opponent's turn in order to make good use of that Escape plus the Unchained Soul of Rage, right? So, Spirit bringing out Yubel again because that effect is not once per turn. So, from here, as I said before, we're going to make Unchained Soul of Rage. We can do that with the Yubel and the Sharvara. We'll put that right over here. And now with Unchained Soul of... Or sorry, with Sharvara, we can set the Escape of the Unchained. And finally, of course, we can still make another Phantom of Yubel. I'll still keep the Spirit in the graveyard. I'll put back original Yubel and then the Samsara D Lotus. So there you go. That is the base turn, or 1 card to turn 1 combo line if you only open Nightmare Throne. Which for a 1-card combo is quite good. Gets you on the monster negates with the Apo, as well as an additional monster, quote-unquote, negate, but it really is better than a negate, because it changes the monster's effect into a beneficial one for you, right? So, we have Apo, we have Phantom, we have the Unchained Soul of Rage. Not only that, but again, as I mentioned before, since we're on Escape of the Unchained, which most builds are, some are on the other trap card, but because we're on Escape of the Unchained and we did not activate Yama, during our opponent's turn, we can Escape of the Unchained to pop Unchained Soul of Rage plus 1 of their cards. Then both Yama and Rage will activate. Yama Chainlink 1 and then Rage Chainlink 2. We can use Rage to add the Spirit of Yubel back to our hand to either later pop with Nightmare Pain on a follow-up turn, or if our opponent even clears our field and then tries to swing in for lethal, you can special the Spirit of Yubel and then you won't be able to be destroyed by battle, and you also won't take damage from it. So that could potentially save you there. But also the Yama effects will bring back the Unchained Soul of Rage, where you can then just use it anyway. So that's why it's okay to get Escape and use it to pop Unchained Soul of Rage. That's why we don't use Yama's effects. This combo, again, is also why I think Cross Sheep is particularly important for the list. So there's that one. Let's see some more turn 1, or rather 1 card turn 1 combos. Okay, so here we have the Samsara D Lotus, which, as I mentioned in the last combo line, is another one of your most important starters. As usual, we're going to pretend that these other cards in our hand are simply not here. And let's show you what you can do with Lotus by itself. It's actually going to be very similar to the last combo line we did, with some slight differences that I'll make sure to highlight. But we're going to start by normal summoning the Lotus and then activating the effect in order to tribute it and special summon the Spirit of Yubel from our deck. From there, we get to activate the Spirit of Yubel effect and select a card. We're going to select Nightmare Pain. Again, on our first turn, turn 1, I do want to set it. So let's activate Nightmare Pain, and we'll use the effect, destroying the Spirit of Yubel, and we're going to once again add the Gruesome Grave Squirmer. Now Spirit of Yubel's effect will special summon Yubel from the deck. So from here, I want to activate the Gruesome Grave Squirmer effect to special summon. This time, however, unlike the last combo line, I do want to destroy a card. Yes, I want to destroy Yubel. Because once Yubel is destroyed, I can special summon the Terror Incarnate from the deck. Alright, now from here, we're going to once again make the Cross Sheep using the Gruesome Grave Squirmer and the Terror Incarnate. Again, you're going to see this missing the timing activation a lot, but again, we're not playing Ultimate Nightmare, so it doesn't matter. You can play Ultimate Nightmare if you want to, but I'm not the biggest fan of it myself. Alright, so we're going to make Phantom of Yubel. We're going to put back Terror Incarnate as well as regular Yubel. And we'll summon Phantom, of course, to one of Cross Sheep's zones. Alright, Cross Sheep F gets to activate here. We're going to want to bring back Samsara D Lotus specifically. Keep the Gruesome Grave Squirmer and the Spirit of Yubel in your graveyard for sure. Alright, now we're going to make Yama using D-Lotus and Phantom of Yubel. Alright, from here, Yama's effect gets to activate. We're going to add the Sharvara from our deck to our hand. Don't want to use the effect of Sharvara just yet. I'm going to actually make Appaloosa first. It'll only be a 2-material Appaloosa this time, but we can still make Appaloosa using the Cross Sheep plus the Yama here. Alright, now we're going to use the Gruesome Grave Squirmer effect. And special summon out the Spirit from the graveyard. And from here, things are pretty similar to the end of the last combo line. Sharvara is going to pop Spirit. And summon itself. Not going to use Yama, again, because we are on the escape. We're simply going to use the Spirit to bring out Yubel. Link these two off for Unchained Soul of Rage, which normally Sharvara would add Escape, or set Escape of the Unchained, but we already have it in hand. And then once again, we can finally make another Phantom of Yubel. And again, Escape would normally be set from deck, but we opened it here. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what the other combo line gets you. It's just one less material on the Appaloosa. So effectively, there is little to no difference between opening Samsara D Lotus and Nightmare Throne. And again, those are the cards that you're going to want to open most often when it comes to your one-card combo lines. There are some amount of things that you can do if you open no Yubel cards. Let's take a look at the line for if you open a one-card line without Yubel stuff. Okay, so there are going to be some hands occasionally where you open the Dark Beckoning Beast, but none of your actual Yubel cards. Again, we're going to ignore the fact that we have 1-for-1 and Nightmare Pain, which will both potentially get us into Yubel stuff here. But let's combo with only Dark Beckoning Beast here. So, going to normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast and activate the effect to add opening of the Spirit Gates from the deck to the hand. From here, we can activate opening of the Spirit Gates. We're, of course, going to add another Dark Beckoning Beast, which we can get an additional normal summon for. Alright, now we can take those beasts and link them into our Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. I'm going to activate Yama's effect and add the Sharvara from deck to hand. Now from here, we can activate the opening of the Spirit Gates effect, discard a random card from our hand in order to bring back one of the Beckoning Beasts. Alright, from here I'm going to activate Sharvara, It doesn't super matter, I don't think, which one of these you pop. We'll just pop the Beckoning Beast, though. And summon out the Sharvara. And then from here, we're going to make the Unchained Soul of Rage. Which will then allow our Sharvara to set the escape. And that is going to be it, which of course is not nearly as impressive as those other combos that we were doing. But again, you got to remember, this is a combo line without opening Yubel stuff. So for a line that doesn't open Yubel stuff, I think this is actually still perfectly fine. Again, as I described before, you can actually escape before you use Unchained Soul of Rage effect during your opponent's turn. Escape, pop Rage in one of their cards. Then you get both of these effects of Yama and Rage. Chainlink 1 Yama to bring back the Rage. Chainlink 2 Rage, you can add back the Dark Beckoning Beast to your hand. Between Dark Beckoning Beast and opening the Spirit Gates, you should have at least some amount of plays on your follow-up turn. Of course, that's on top of whatever Unchained Soul of Rage goes into with its effect, because it'll be coming back. Not only that, but if you opened non-engine plus Dark Beckoning Beast, you probably opened a good amount of hand traps, right? So having access to those hand traps in addition to the layered disruption here can be very good. Now, Decade did have a combo line where by using Abyss Actor Super Producer, the opening Dark Beckoning Beast by itself can actually lead into more plays. So that is something that you could look at. The Abyss Actor Super Producer is a UR, so that's going to be another UR for the deck. It's also an extra deck slot that is for a very specific kind of opening hand, which could be worth it, but I have not elected to play it just yet. But I am, of course, going to be showing you more than just these one-card combo lines. We're going to look at some two-card combo lines as well. So let's start taking a look at what we got there. Okay, so for our first two-card combo here, we've got a hand where we have opened Dark Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Pain. So let's see what Dark Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Pain will get you. Alright, here I would normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast. Let's activate the effect and grab us an opening of the Spirit Gates. We can activate opening of the Spirit Gates from here, and we'll add another Dark Beckoning Beast from our hand. Now, of course, with Dark Beckoning Beast, we get additional summon, normal summon, for any Fiend with 0 attack and defense. But rather than just summon the Dark Beckoning Beast, let's activate Nightmare Pain. And now let's activate Nightmare Pain's effect, destroying the Dark Beckoning Beast in hand that we added. And then we can add a Samsara D Lotus from our deck to our hand, which is in fact a Fiend with 0 attack and defense, meaning we can use our extra normal summon on it. Samsara D Lotus effect, we're going to sack that off for the Spirit of Yubel. Now, of course, we already have the Nightmare Pain, so with Spirit of Yubel, we can just set Eternal Favorite on the field. If you're not playing Eternal Favorite, you can simply add another Nightmare Pain from your deck to your hand for follow-up plays. Either way, what you add with Spirit of Yubel here is not really going to matter, of course, because we already have used the Nightmare Pain effect. So from here, I'm going to actually link these two into Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. We're going to activate the Yama effect and add Sharvara from deck to hand. Now, opening of the Spirit Gates, much like Beckoning Beast, does not simply special summon Beckoning Beast, it special summons any Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense. So, what you can do is you can use your opening of the Spirit Gates, pitch a random card from your hand, that of course you're not using anyway because it wasn't part of your combo line. We can bring back the Spirit of Yubel. Now, I'm going to activate Sharvara. Let's pop the Spirit of Yubel and summon Sharvara to our field. Spirit of Yubel effect here. We're going to special summon regular old Yubel from the deck. Now, of course, while Sharvara is on the field, we can only special summon Fiend monsters, right? So I think what I might do here is, let's see, we could go Phantom effect. We could put back the Dark Beckoning Beast as well as the Spirit of Yubel, summoning a Phantom. Alright, now we can make Unchained Soul of Rage using Sharvara and Yubel. Gonna put that here. Sharvara F. We get to, of course, set Escape of the Unchained. Alright, and then now from here, if you wanted to, we could make another Phantom of Yubel. I'm actually trying to think if I want to end on this, or if there's anything, like, better we could do. Because, again, we could make another Phantom of Yubel here by shuffling back the Yubel and Dark Beckoning Beast in the yard. That would open us up to go into a Link 3 or 4, but, I mean, at that point you're using 2 Phantom of Yubel to make a 3-mat Apo, which... it's debatable whether Phantom of Yubel is better than Appaloosa or not. I mean, either way, we do actually want the Unchained Soul Lord of Yama in the graveyard. So, if you don't want to make an Apo here, like a 3-mat Apo, and use up all your Phantom of Yubels, what you could do is go Phantom of Yubel plus Yama into SP Little Knight. And then we can still summon out another Phantom, right? And this way, we maximize the number of disruptions that we end on. So I think that's probably what I would end on here. Now you might be wondering, okay, with the Unchained Soul of Rage, if you've already summoned Little Knight, what are you going to go into? But we still, of course, have the Unchained Soul of Anguish to go into. I mean, really any number of things here, right? But the main thing is that you're using your opponent's monster to do it. So even if you're not, you know, using their monster, removing their monster, and then going into Little Knight for more removal, you're still removing one of their monsters. And we still also have Little Knight out on the field already for the second effect. Again, you would also have the option with this line to use multiple Phantom of Yubels with the Yama to make a 3-mat Apo. But again, I don't really feel like that's efficient use of your Phantoms, and I honestly kind of think that Phantom of Yubel is a better monster effect disrupt than Appaloosa. Because again, it not only negates the effect, but it also will give a beneficial effect for you, right? So, alright, so there is, what was that? Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Pain. Let's see some more 2-card combo lines. Alright, so here we have probably my favorite 2-card combo to open. That's going to be Nightmare Throne plus Opening of the Spirit Gates. A lot of these 2-card combos are going to be pretty much like Yubel stuff plus Gates slash Dark Beckoning Beast, because if you opened, like, let's say Nightmare Throne plus Gruesome Grave Squirmer, right? That isn't really that much of a too different of a 2-card combo. That's mostly just going to result in you getting a search for, like, Eternal Favorite later in the turn instead of Grave Squirmer. But again, if you open Yubel plus Dark Beckoning Beast stuff, then you can start to do some pretty cool things. So I'm going to lead by activating Opening. I would activate that before Nightmare Throne, because if I want my opponent to, you know, negate one or the other with, like, an Ash Blossom, I'd rather it be the Opening, right? So we're going to Opening for a Beckoning Beast, and then we can also Nightmare Throne for the Samsara D Lotus. Alright, so Dark Beckoning Beast, we're going to go ahead and normal summon that. Use the effect to add another Opening of the Spirit Gates from our deck to our hand. And, of course, as usual, we get the extra normal summon for the Samsara D Lotus. But let's say your opponent uses Valor or Imperm against Dark Beckoning Beast. I normally don't account for this in my combo guides, but I want to talk about this because this is actually a really, really cool pivot that you can do in this deck. So, yeah, let's say you activate the Opening of the Spirit Gates and add the Beckoning Beast, and then you normal the Beckoning Beast and the Valor slash Imperm it. Now you will no longer have your extra normal summon because the Beckoning Beast is negated. But what you can do is you can actually link off the Beckoning Beast into Salamangreat Almirage, and you're about to see why we played this card. Now, we can activate the Opening of the Spirit Gates, discarding a card. In this case, we'll discard our extra Opening, and bringing back the Beckoning Beast. Now, it no longer has its effects negated by Valor slash Imperm, and then now we can extra normal summon for the Samsara D Lotus. From here, we're going to use Samsara D Lotus effect, especially the Spirit of Yubel from our deck. Spirit of Yubel effect will go for the Nightmare Pain. We'll set it, yeah. Alright, and then now, fun fact, by the way, actually, since we control a level 10 monster, This line also lets us use the quote-unquote secret effect of opening of the spirit gates. We can actually add back the opening that we pitched earlier, which is a nice little way to recoup a little bit of advantage there. But anyway, from here we can activate the Nightmare Pain on the spirit, add a Gruesome Grave Squirmer. We can then use both Spirit of Yubel and Nightmare Throne effects. Alright, let's grab the Terror Incarnate. And we can then, of course, specials the field. And then we'll get regular old Yubel as well. Alright, we can make Cross Sheep here using the Almirage, and we'll just go ahead and use regular Yubel here. We could then make the Yama with Terror Incarnate and Dark Beckoning Beast. The reason I'm not making Phantom first is because, again, don't worry about missing the timing, it doesn't mean anything. The reason I'm not making Phantom of Yubel first is because I want to put back Yubel and Terror Incarnate exactly. I want to keep that Spirit of Yubel in the graveyard, right? So, alright, now we can make the Phantom with, again, as mentioned, Terror Incarnate and regular Yubel. We'll special summon that to the other zone Cross Sheep points to. That lets us activate the Cross Sheep effect. And we can bring back the Samsara D Lotus. Alright, now from here, we simply turn... Actually, you know what? No, sorry. We're going to want to summon Gruesome Grave Squirmer. We need to get the Gruesome Grave Squirmer into the graveyard. No, we're not destroying a card here because we want to use it to bring back the Spirit and then pop that with Sharvara, right? So... we can make Apo using you. We're definitely going to use the Cross Sheep. You could make it a 4-material Apo and use the Phantom if you wanted to. I'm actually going to make it a 3-mat Apo. Alright, now we activate the Gruesome Grave Squirmer. Bring back the Spirit. Sharvara effect. I'm going to pop the Spirit to summon. And then we get the Spirit effect. We're not using Yamas. We don't need to. Special Yubel. We're going to make Unchained Soul of Rage. And then we get the Sharvara effect to set the Escape. Alright, so basically the way that we did this here, we were not only able to end on an extra negate, because we end on with the Samsara D Lotus still on the field, right? So, as long as we control a Yubel monster, it kind of becomes the same thing as the Phantom of Yubel. However, you do want to be mindful of the activation timing, right, between Samsara D Lotus and Phantom of Yubel, because it changes the effect to destroy one Yubel monster on the field. That's not optional. So, if your opponent activates a monster effect and you Samsara D Lotus first, you have to get rid of your Phantom of Yubel. So, but what you can do, though, is you can use Phantom of Yubel first, pop the Spirit in the deck, summon Yubel from the yard, then use D Lotus to pop the Yubel, and not only will that give that effect, but then you can also use Yubel to special summon the Terror Incarnate from your deck. Just be mindful that the Terror Incarnate, during the end phase, will destroy all other monsters on the field. Now, of course, there are a number of ways you could prevent this by either choosing not to summon it. You could simply get rid of it with, like, Escape if you really wanted to. But a lot of the time, you probably just won't end up summoning it. But it is an option. So this not only sets up additional monster effect negates, essentially, but doing the combo line this way also gives you the option to end on a card that will let you board wipe the opponent. This is also, of course, on top of your Apo, your Phantom, your Unchained Soul of Rage, your Escape, and all that other stuff that we were talking about, right? So, I think this ends up being a highly productive combo line. And again, lest we forget, We even played this combo line in a way that played around Effect Veiler and Imperm, right? Or not even around it, but through it. So you can set this board up even if your Dark Beckoning Beast gets negated. That's actually not an issue. Another minor thing I like about this iteration of the combo line is that we still get to keep 2, not just 1, Phantom of Yubels in the extra deck. That is an extremely minor thing, as I said, but during long games, which Yubel can often get into, it will matter. You can very easily have games where you go through all 3 of your Phantoms and you still need another one. So, in my opinion, any opportunity you can take to use less Phantom of Yubels during your turn is better. But also, if you wanted to, you could have made a format Apo and then just summoned another Phantom of Yubel. So the decision there ultimately is yours. Okay, so next hand is going to be, let's do Spirit of Yubel plus Nightmare Pain. So one thing about Nightmare Pain is that it is a little bit awkward to try to open your plays using this card, because a lot of our plays are pretty reliant on popping Spirit of Yubel with Nightmare Pain. That's why the Dark Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Pain combo line we went over a couple of lines ago was a little bit awkward, or it felt a little bit awkward to play out, right? But here, if we open Nightmare Pain plus Spirit of Yubel, we can make some pretty solid plays. So we're going to activate the Nightmare Pain here. As said, of course, we're going to destroy the Spirit. We're going to pretend these Lotuses aren't in hand. And here, I'm actually going to go ahead and grab the Gruesome Gravescormer. So, again, I'm ignoring these Lotuses in hand. Even if I didn't open them, I wouldn't be, like, going for them right now. I'd still just go for a Gruesome Gravescormer. We can use the Spirit of Yubel effect in order to special summon Yubel from our deck. From here, we're going to... Oh, not normal summon. We want to activate the effect of Gruesome Gravescormer. Destroy a card, yes, I want to destroy Yubel. Now we can, of course, activate Yubel's effect in order to bring back the Terror Incarnate. Now, from here, let's see, we could, in theory, go for the Cross Sheep, right? But I am a little worried that we would run out of material. So I think, actually, in this particular situation, you'd probably want to go straight for the Yama. Again, mistiming doesn't matter. Yama effect to add the Sharvara. And then now we're going to make a Phantom, putting back Terror Incarnate and Yubel. This is why I don't think you could go for Cross Sheep, because normally you would summon the Samsara D Lotus. But again, this line does not use Samsara D Lotus. So, alright, so from here we can activate the Gruesome Gravescormer that's in the graveyard. Bringing back the Spirit of Yubel. We can actually use the effect because we haven't summoned this yet. Again, I am on Eternal Favorite, so I would add / set that. However, if you weren't, you could just simply get the second Nightmare Pain 2-hand for like more follow-up plays, right? So, ooh, again, we're not summoning. We're going to activate the effect of Sharvara, popping the Spirit. Special Sharvara, Spirit F for the Yubel. Alright, now, let's see. From here, we have to make a Fiend monster. Otherwise, if it weren't for Sharvara, now would actually be a fine time to, I guess, I was going to say make the Cross Sheep, but we wouldn't have a level 4 lower monster. So, yeah, even here, it wouldn't really do any good, would it? But what we can do is we can just go Unchained Soul of Rage. We can make that using the Yubel plus the Sharvara here. And then activate Sharvara's effect, setting the escape. Now, from here, you could end on this if you wanted to. We're actually in a pretty similar spot that we were last time, aren't we? With the Dark Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Pain. That's what a lot of these Nightmare Pain lines, rather, I think kind of boil down to. Now, if you wanted to, you could simply end on this and escape, potentially pop Yama. Or you could also make Little Knight, right? using the Phantom and the Yama. That gets the Yama in the graveyard. It puts up the Little Knight up front. So, like, yeah, we're not going into it with Rage, but then we don't really lose out too badly because we can still simply put these two in the graveyard back in order to make the Phantom. So you could still end on that, too, if you wanted to. I think one of the bigger drawbacks of doing it in this line is that now we no longer have, like, a solid monster to add. I mean, we could still add Sharvara back from graveyard to hand with the Unchained Soul of Rage. I think adding Spirit back is a lot better. If you ever have the choice between adding back Spirit and Sharvara, I think I would add the Spirit pretty much every single time. But it's also fine to add back the Sharvara too. So, yeah, much like that other line, when you open Nightmare Pain and you have to use it as part of your opening plays, it can be a little awkward, again, because we're not getting to pop the Spirit of Yubel with the Nightmare Pain. But, as you can see, it is still fairly easy to end on multiple layers of disruption, even if you open something like just Nightmare Pain plus Spirit of Yubel, right? Alright, now opening Throne plus Spirit of Yubel. As usual, opening Nightmare Throne is just very, very good pretty much every single time. And that is definitely much better than opening Nightmare Pain alongside Spirit of Yubel. I thought about showing a Dark Beckoning Beast plus Nightmare Throne combo line, but to be honest, that would be extremely similar to offering a Spirit Gates plus Nightmare Throne. It'd be pretty much the exact same combo line. The only problem is that it would actually be weaker, because in this case, if you normal summon Beckoning Beast, then you won't get the opening of the Spirit Gate. So if Valor Imperm hits it, then it will actually stop you. But otherwise, you would just, yeah, it'd be literally the exact same thing. So let's show Throne plus Spirit. Alright, we're going to use the Throne and add Samsara D Lotus to our hand. Then, again, we're going to pretend Dark Beckoning Beast isn't here. We're going to normal summon the Samsara D Lotus and activate the effect. I'm still going to special summon, of course, Spirit of Yubel, even though I have one in hand. We're going to activate Spirit of Yubel for Nightmare Pain. Alright, and now we're going to activate Nightmare Pain, but since we have a Spirit in hand, we can actually pop the one that's in our hand and keep the one on the field, well, on the field. So let's go for the Gruesome Grave Squirmer, of course. And then we get to activate the Spirit of Yubel. Now, one thing that is important to note is that Nightmare Throne can only summon, right, when a monster you control leaves the field. So you're not going to get the Ultimate Terror right now, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get it at all. Alright, so Spirit of Yubel is naturally going to summon out regular Yubel. We're going to go for Gruesome Grave Squirmer. We'll special summon that. And I do want to destroy a card. I want to destroy Yubel. But however, you're going to get both options here. We don't want to activate Nightmare Throne, though. We still don't want to do that. We're still going to do that actually later in the line. We're only going to activate Yubel, because if you did, like, Chainlink 1 Yubel, Chainlink 2 Nightmare Throne would add and then summon the Ultimate Terror, and then your regular Yubel F wouldn't go off, and then you've used your Nightmare Throne for nothing. So we're going to activate Yubel, but not Nightmare Throne here. Going for the Terror Incarnate. I said Ultimate Terror, I meant Terror Incarnate. Alright, we can make Cross Sheep using Grave Squirmer and Terror Incarnate. Missing the timing, of course, we don't care about that. That's completely fine. And then now we're going to make a Phantom using, of course, Terror Incarnate and Yubel. We'll summon that over here, and then activate Cross Sheep for the Lotus. Alright, now we're going to make Yama using Lotus and Phantom. Alright, from here we get the Yama effect. We're going to, of course, add the Sharvara. Alright, we can use Gruesome Grave Squirmer. And here we already have the Spirit, of course. So, in this situation, we could actually just special summon the Samsara D Lotus again. Alright, now we're going to activate Sharvara. We're going to pop that Spirit of Yubel that's just been shown on our field, right? We'll throw that over here. And now we get not only Spirit's effect, but also the Nightmare Throne. So this is definitely why you've been saving that, for sure. Alright. We're going to want to add Terror Incarnate, because that would just... The other option would just put Phantom of Yubel back into the extra deck. Alright, and then we're going to summon out regular old Yubel. Regular old Yubel. Alright, now from here, let me think for a second. So, we could make... I'm trying to think if we can get away with making a format Apo and still full combo. Like if we went 1, 2, 3, 4, then we'd have to link these two. And I kind of want to keep the Lotus on the field for another Negate. So let's just make a... oh, of course, Sharvara's in play. So we have to start with the... yeah, we have to start with the Unchained Soul of Rage. So we have to do that first. Let's use Sharvara because that is what's Fiend locking us. And then we'll just use the Terra Incarnate here. Unchained Soul of Rage. Sharvara missing the timing again. Doesn't matter. Sharvara effect gets to activate. Set the escape. Alright, now we can make the Apo. And we're going to use this as 2, and then Cross Sheep. And, of course, finally, we get to make our other Phantom. We're going to use Yubel and Terra Incarnate for that. So there you go. By opening the Spirit, we basically get to end on extra disruption in the form of the Samsara D Lotus, which, as mentioned before, in the other combo line where we ended on Samsara D Lotus, right, you want to use Phantom of Yubel first. Change your opponent's monster effect into destroy Spirit from deck. Spirit from deck will summon the Yubel from the deck, and then now you can Samsara D Lotus to change a monster effect to destroy Yubel, which if you want to, again, you could use Yubel to summon the Terror Incarnate, and then go into that and then wipe the board during the end phase. So yet again, we end on all the same disruption that we end on in other combo lines, plus an additional monster, quote-unquote, negate that's better than a negate, with the additional option to end on an end-phase board wipe, again, if we so choose. If the board state is, like, not really, turning out that much in our favor, right? And again, that is beyond the 3-mat Apo, the Unchained Soul of Rage, the Escape of the Unchained, as well as any hand traps that we have left over in our hand. So... alright, I hope that you all found this information helpful. If there are any suggestions you have, definitely feel free to throw them down in the comments below. Like I said, I'm still learning this deck, so hopefully these combo lines were helpful to assist you in learning the deck as well. But that's going to be all for this one. Let's move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.